The most powerful group behind what you eat. Every meal you consume is backed by a hidden force that most people are never aware of. A formidable coalition of lobbying groups, multinational businesses, and agricultural titans that dominate the world's food system. These entities have a say in almost every part of what gets up on your plate, from the seeds planted in the ground to the packaged goods on grocery store shelves. They prioritize profit over sustainability and nutrition, which affects price, how you choose to eat, and even your health. This control influences not just the production of food, but also international policy, environmental practices, and even the direction of food innovation in the future. We'll watch about the broad effects of these influential individuals' influence as we delve into how they control what you eat and why it's critical to comprehend their role for the environment, your health, and the future of food security. Eating habits may be more about control than choice. 1. Managing the production of food. A small number of extremely big agribusinesses that dominate the world's food production sector are at the center of the contemporary food system. The agricultural industry is dominated by businesses like Monsanto, now part of Bayer, Syngenta, and Cargill, who manufacture and market the seeds, fertilizers, insecticides, and animal feed that farmers need to cultivate crops and raise livestock. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs, which account for a sizable amount of the food supply in nations like the United States, are essentially the exclusive domain of these corporations. These agribusiness behemoths govern the means of food production, giving them tremendous influence over farmers and, consequently, customers. Due to exclusive contracts or proprietary technology, farmers are frequently forced to buy seeds and chemicals from these businesses. Smaller, independent farmers find it difficult to compete in this system because of the dependency it fosters, which essentially consolidates the food sector under the hands of a few large corporations. Because these businesses prioritize high-yield, profitable commodities like corn, soy, and wheat, often at the expense of agricultural diversification and sustainable farming practices, this centralized control affects what ends up on your plate. Ultimately, this leads to a food system that supports industrial agriculture on a vast scale, which can have detrimental effects on the environment and consumers alike. 2. Action on food-related laws and policies. In addition to controlling food production, agribusinesses and international food corporations have a big say in what laws and regulations relate to food. These businesses have direct access to legislators and government organizations that oversee the food industry through influential lobbying groups like the Grocery Manufacturers Association and the American Farm Bureau Federation. The goal of lobbying is frequently to minimize government control over food safety, environmental standards, and agricultural practices while maximizing rules that favor major firms. Agribusinesses have effectively influenced legislation to safeguard their interests in a number of sectors, such as the use of pesticides, the use of antibiotics in animal farming, and the need for genetically modified food labels. International trade agreements are another area in which these businesses may have influence. This may make it more difficult for small farmers and regional food producers to compete. Because of these organizations' influence, the food laws that we depend on to safeguard consumers, advance sustainability, and maintain fair competition are frequently biased in favor of the biggest companies in the sector. 3. Management of food promotion and advertising. Marketing and advertising are two more important ways that this influential group affects our dietary choices. Every year, big food companies spend billions of dollars on advertising efforts aimed at influencing customer tastes and increasing demand for their goods. These businesses have mastered the art of marketing food that is frequently highly processed and devoid of nutritional value. Examples include sugary cereals targeted towards youngsters and fast food franchises that emphasize price and convenience. Foods heavy in sugar, fat, and salt ingredients linked to chronic health issues like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease are frequently the ones that get the most marketing attention. Our eating habits are greatly influenced by the ubiquitous nature of food advertising and the psychological strategies employed to appeal to the emotions and desires of consumers. Even government-backed food education initiatives and dietary recommendations are unable to match these companies' enormous marketing spending. Because of this, a lot of consumers are inundated with messages urging them to purchase processed, unhealthy foods, which can lead to making bad dietary decisions and developing long-term health problems. 4. Global supply chain influence. Multinational food companies are at the core of this sophisticated network, which is the world's food supply chain. Global suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors are under the power of conglomerates such as Nestle, PepsiCo, and Unilever, which allows them to set terms for farmers and food producers everywhere. These businesses frequently give priority to cost-cutting strategies that lower prices, which can have disastrous consequences for small farmers and food producers in developing nations. In order to satisfy the needs of big global corporations, many farmers are compelled to sell their goods at extremely low rates, which frequently trap them in cycles of poverty. Furthermore, environmentally harmful behaviors may result from the global food supply chain's emphasis on efficiency and profit. For instance, extensive monoculture farming increases the need of chemical pesticides and fertilizers, depletes soil nutrients, and causes deforestation. Food transportation has a large carbon footprint and contributes to global climate change when it is transported over long distances. These influential businesses have the ability to permanently harm both people and the environment by putting profit above sustainability. As a result, they have a significant influence on the global food system. 5. Food price manipulation. The large companies that control the food business also have a big influence on food prices. These businesses have the power to affect the price of food commodities like corn, wheat, and soy, which are used to make a lot of processed foods by holding a sizable portion of the market. Changes in these commodity prices have an impact on every step of the food supply chain, from the price of a loaf of bread to the cost of animal feed. These businesses occasionally manipulate pricing by exploiting their market dominance to fictitiously raise or drop prices in order to serve their own financial objectives. Large agribusinesses, for instance, have been charged with banding together to fix the pricing of specific commodities, thereby manipulating the market and boosting their own earnings at the expense of farmers and consumers. As a result, food prices are frequently not in line with the true costs of production, which means that while healthier, whole foods are still out of reach for many people, consumers may wind up paying more for processed, unhealthy foods. This food price manipulation exacerbates problems like food deserts, where access to reasonably priced, nutrient-dense food is limited, and adds to food inequality. 6. Public health impact. The effect on public health that these corporations' power has is arguably the most concerning one. As was previously mentioned, a large portion of the foods that are prominently displayed on restaurant menus and grocery shelves are heavily processed and loaded with unhealthful ingredients like artificial flavors, added sugars, and unhealthy fats. Many consumers choose these foods over healthier options because they are more affordable and convenient. This is especially true for those who have limited access to whole foods or fresh produce. Overindulgence in these processed foods has been connected to a number of health issues, such as diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and obesity. The powerful food industry persists in promoting products that worsen health conditions, frequently with little consideration for the long-term well-being of consumers, despite the obvious link between diet and health. The food industry frequently opposes initiatives to address public health issues through food policies, such as restricting the marketing of unhealthy foods to children or enacting sugar taxes. In order to minimize the health hazards connected to their products, lobbying and public relations activities are undertaken, which makes it more difficult for governments and health organizations to take significant action to protect public health. 7. Creating the food of the future. Strong agribusinesses and food corporations are shaping the food of the future as science and technology progress. Technological advancements such as genetically engineered crops, lab-grown meat, and vertical farming hold the capacity to completely transform our food production and consumption practices. However, these technologies are generally created and controlled by the same corporations that dominate the current food system. While these breakthroughs could help solve challenges like food security and sustainability, there are worries about who will control these new technologies and how they will be used. For instance, lab-grown meat may offer a more environmentally friendly substitute for conventional livestock farming. However, if the technology is controlled by a small number of powerful companies, it may worsen already existing problems with food insecurity and corporate dominance. The same is true for genetically modified crops and other agricultural innovations. If these technologies are used to promote monoculture farming and industrial agriculture, they could further harm the environment and limit the diversity of the global food supply. The challenge moving forward is to ensure that these innovations are used to create a more equitable, sustainable, and resilient food system, rather than reinforcing the dominance of a few powerful corporations. Conclusion. The powerful collection of agribusinesses, international food firms, and lobbying organizations that govern the global food system has a major impact on what we eat, how it's produced, and the future of food security. From influencing food policies and pricing to shaping consumer tastes through marketing, these entities exert significant control over the decisions we make every day. As consumers, it's crucial to be aware of the forces behind our food and to advocate for a more transparent, sustainable, and equitable food system that emphasizes health, the environment, and the well-being of farmers and communities throughout the world. Let us know in the comments what you think about this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating content on our YouTube channel.